car fixed, putting you in a rental, getting you to a doctor, and eventually getting you paid for your injuries.
You got nothing to lose, and the best part is no recovery, no fees.
If you don't get any money, you don't have to pay anything. There's no risk. Take the time to make the call. Just call 1-800-HURT-123.
Good evening, y'all. How's everybody doing? Sherman D. Manning from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm Atlanta born, I'm Atlanta bred. When I die, I'll be Atlanta dead. Atlanta's my hometown. How y'all doing tonight? How are you all doing? How's everybody? How's everybody tonight? Always be loving. Always be caring. Always be sharing. Try not to be selfish. Be humble. Sit down. You all heard that song? Sometime, I think it was William James who said that the unexamined life is a life not worth living. Let me say that again. The unexamined life is a life not worth living. In other words, if you don't examine your life is not even worth living. The message, examine your life. I don't want to spend all of my life running around teaching everybody else how to live and preaching to everybody else about God and not look in the mirror and examine myself and see how can I make Sherman D. Manning a better man. I got two men in my name now, Sherman and Manning. So with all of that manhood, how can I make myself a better man? And I was thinking today about someone that I love deeply and dearly, a person who has become the closest person to me in California, and quite frankly, the closest person to me in the United States of America. And I thought, and I'd said, I'll be there at, I think I said 8:35 or so. And I thought about, is that being just a little bit selfish? If you know that someone is tired that you love, and you know that someone that you care about.
Turn left onto Normandy Avenue.
And brothers, we need to think about that when we're dealing with our ladies. Ladies, you need to think about that when you're dealing with your men. Seriously. Your husband been working all day long and come home and you still want to work him like a dog and get mad if he don't do something that you need to, you know what I mean? Think about the other person sometimes. Think about the other person sometimes. Whoever your love is, your significant other is, the person that you care about, ask yourself, wait a minute, can I make this little sacrifice? Do we have to do this tonight? Is it mandatory? Do we have to go to this movie tonight? Do we have to go out to dinner tonight? Can I give him a break? Can I give her a break? Can I understand that he or she only slept for 4 or 5 hours today or tonight or last night or whatever it was? Can I sacrifice this little thing in my life so that they'll feel a little bit better later on tonight or tomorrow? And I was thinking about myself and that kind of situation earlier. And I had to make a call, send a text and say, you know what, go back to sleep if you can, because we'll do that some other time. Be humble, sit down. And when that is reciprocated, what a great relationship you can have. When you love somebody and they love you back. When you think about them and they think about you. When you're always wondering how they're feeling and they're always wondering how you are feeling. When you always want them to be in great spirits and they always want you to be in great spirits. That's called reciprocation. If it's a one-way street, it gets old after a while. You understand? It gets old quickly. I told someone, if you're only making withdrawals from your relationship and you're not making any deposits, that is a horrible place to be. And as sooner or later, your relationship is going to go bankrupt. If all I do is make withdrawals, I'm always getting something from you. And I'm not talking about money. We're not talking about financial things. We're not talking about tangibles necessarily. We're talking about intangibles. I'm always pulling on you for something. Pulling on you for information. Pulling on you for love, pulling on you for sacrifice, pulling on you to do for me, pulling on you to care for me, pulling on you to cry when I cry, weep when I weep, feel bad when I feel bad, take care of me when I'm sick, but I'm not depositing anything. I'm not there for you. I'm not giving you anything. At some point, I'm going to write a check and it's going to come back marked insufficient funds. And that's how a lot of relationships get destroyed. But if you're thinking about me, how is Sherman feeling today? How was his day? How does he feel? What does he, you know? Excuse me. That is the spice of life. Somebody called me one day, and they started telling me what they needed me to do for them and how they needed me to do that. They wanted this, they wanted that, they wanted. I said, wait a minute, hold it. Hello? Ask me how I'm doing. Ask me how was my day. Ask me how is my family. How are my children? How was my wife? How was my life? Ask me about me and mine. You understand? And some people don't seem to do that or understand the importance of that. They call you and just start pulling on you for what they need. And so the relationship becomes transactional. And it seems like it's just, transactional. What can I get out of you? And that's how I felt from this person. And arguably, this person probably does like me, probably does care about me. But I think this person has an agenda. And when the agenda becomes more important than the relationship, then the relationship is in trouble. So always be concerned about people and how they're feeling. And be willing to make sacrifices for them. And then they won't feel so bad when you need them to make a sacrifice for you. Excuse me. Okay, let's talk about your president. I just want to get that off my chest. How y'all doing tonight? How are you all doing? Is everyone okay tonight? I'm so excited I can't hardly see straight. I have been groaning in the Spirit of God all day long. God is getting ready to do something awesome. God's going to do the almighty through the least likely. I had to go to church today and just get my prayer on. I just went over to the wrecking crew at noon and just prayed with Chief Apostle Rose and with Bishop Reddix. And we just had a time in the Lord. I carried my church, Yes We Can Worship Center, right to the altar. I carried my ministry right to the altar. I carried my chief armor bearer right to the altar. I carried my children right to the altar. I carried my family right to the altar and left them there, because oftentimes a lot of the stuff we're worried about is stuff we can't do anything about, ladies and gentlemen. So why not give it to somebody who can do something about it? And so I'm excited tonight. I'm excited. I said, I'm so excited I can't hardly see straight. I've been groaning all day long. I feel like God is getting ready to do something awesome. There's something in the atmosphere. I said, there's something in the atmosphere. I feel a shift going on. I feel a shift. Anybody feel a shift other than me? Is it just me? Or do you feel something in the air? Do you feel something in the atmosphere? Can you feel something? I'm a little bit tired, but I still feel something in the atmosphere. A little bit worn down, but I still feel something in the atmosphere. I feel something. I wonder if there's anybody out there that feels something. Anybody out there on Western Avenue, do you feel anything? How about out on Crenshaw, do you feel anything? Maybe you're sitting up in the laundry room, do you feel anything right now? Maybe up on the roof right now, do you feel anything? I used to talk about the roof. I used to hear them say, the roof is on fire. The roof is on fire. I feel like the roof is on fire. Oh, I heard Jeremiah say it's just like fire shut up in my bones. Oh, God. Tell him, I said, if you can't feel that fire, your wood must be wet. If you can't feel something going on in the atmosphere. Thank you, Lord. I did Chili Most today. I did the Chili Most interview today at 8:30 this morning. And it was a great interview. Chili Most did a great job, and I did the best that I could and tried to represent Yes We Can Worship Center, which is located at 5857 South Central Avenue, Suite 180. Tell it everywhere you go. We want people to know. Catch us every Friday night for an hour of power at 7 o'clock p.m. 7 o'clock p.m. We're at the corner of Slauson and Central. We're right behind the CVS drugstore, right next door to Cricket, between Cricket and Chase Bank. Every Friday at 7 o'clock p.m. And so Chili Most is going to have me back on the show again, in case my chief armor bearer is listening. A lot of things I haven't been able to tell him today. We've been busy. So in case my chief armor bearer is listening, take notes. Listen to this. Let me give you some updates, some stuff I didn't tell you. And I usually tell you before I tell anybody anything church related. And so Chili Most is going to have me back on his show before June 9th. He's going to try to get Chief Apostle on also. He wants him on the show. And so I heard also of a person called Uncle Bobby's Country Kitchen. I think is it Country Kitchen? No, Uncle Bobby's Country Corner. Kitchen Corner. Uncle Bobby's Kitchen Corner, I think it's called. It's on the internet. Just Google it. Uncle Bobby's Kitchen Corner, I think it's called. This guy has a television podcast that he does. He works with Jim Brown and some other folk. And so I was able to call him today, Brother Jorge, in case you're listening. I was able to call him today and speak telephonically, and we have some plans. We're going to talk again tomorrow, and we may be, key word, Jorge, I know how you are sometimes. I'll tell you I might, and then you act like I said we're doing it for sure. And this is preliminary, and I probably shouldn't even mention it yet, but I'm going to go ahead and let the cat out of the bag. I might be on his television show very soon. It's a television podcast. In fact, I texted you an address yesterday and a name about Uncle Bobby's, and you said, what's that address? And I told you I was taking notes. I'm talking about Chief Omaberry, everybody, if you're listening. And that's what that was. When I talked to him today, I was able to get his cousin. You have to investigate sometimes. So I watched the podcast, and I saw him interviewing his cousin, who is a realtor. He owns a real estate company. And so I simply looked up the cousin's real estate company, called that number, talked to the cousin. The cousin gave me his number, and we connected. And it was a real good conversation. It was a real great conversation, in fact. And we talked for maybe, I'm going to say 15 minutes. And we plan to talk again very, very soon. Tomorrow, actually. And we'll take it from there. So let's pray that I'll be invited to be a guest on his show. I believe that it can happen, and I believe that God is going to order those steps. And so let's just line ourselves up and be ready for whatever it is God is getting ready to do. But God is going to do great things. Now, his cousin, who is the realtor, he owns a real estate company. I'll give you his name off air. His cousin said, give me all your information, Pastor Manning, and let's see, if we can get involved in some kind of way. He owns a real estate company. God is on the move. I'm telling you, we're on the move. And the only reason we're on the move is because God is on the move. And the only reason God is on the move is because he sees what we're trying to do. And I told you, if you take care of God's business, God will take care of your business. And I want my friend out on Western, I'm not going to call the name of that individual, to ask yourself one question. When I first met that person, and you know who you are, there were maybe 2 times you asked me if you could borrow $5. That's how broke you were. $5. One night you just wanted something to eat. And I took and got you a Big Mac and some fries because it was late. We barely found a Mickey D's open. But I want you to ask yourself, how many times have you had to ask anybody, can you borrow any money and since you've been connected to this work, since you've been connected to me? You ain't been broke a day. Not one single time. Have not been broke. And just because you don't have any money in your pocket doesn't mean you're broke if you got it. And that was only one time when you didn't have enough cash in your pocket. And that was that. We fixed that the next day. But you ain't been broke. You ain't had to borrow nothing. No fast, speedy loans, none of that. And you're still expanding. And the reason you're expanding is because you have obeyed the voice of God and you're trying to do what's right. When you try to do what's right, God will bless you. You take care of God's business, he'll take care of yours. Just keep listening to me. Keep moving forward. Don't go on any spending binges. Don't take anything right now that is not a bare necessity. And don't start offering people money. And don't let people know you have any. I'm telling you, that's always tickled me about some people who want a lot of bling bling. They don't understand. Most people with money don't even want you to know they have money. Because if your baby mama start finding out you got money, they start wanting extra. Suddenly they have all these emergency needs. And I'm gonna keep it real. Half of y'all listening, your children are on welfare anyway. Come on now, let's be honest. Half of you all listening to me right now have children who are being taken care of by the government. So anything you send is extra. Okay, let's just be authentic about that. Let's stop playing the games about that. Anything you send is extra. Am I saying you should not do so? Of course I'm not saying that. Those are your children. If you have children and you are a man, you ought to do what you can. You ought to do what you can and do it without malice. But at the same time, don't let anybody play any game on you and